Hi, this is Jim Gibson. Thank you for joining me today. And today I'm going to give some tips for business owners. Basically, those individuals who run a business and they install IT cabling for computers, for telephones, for cameras, things like that. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that I've learned, and I've done cabling for 3 decades. Over 3 decades, yeah. Don't look that old, do I? But anyway, some of the things I've learned over the time. And usually it's your salespeople that go out and do bids. And sometimes you can send a technician to go count the jacks and get a floor plan and stuff like that so you can do a proposal. But a lot of times you send salespeople who have never cabled before and they're learning, okay? And I've seen it on floor plans where someone indicates that they want a jack underneath a window. Now, there's 2 ways you can get a jack underneath the window in a building that's already established. Now, I'm talking about jack, I'm talking about an RJ45 used for a network cabling. And what I would tell customers when I did bids, and I would teach my salespeople this, say it's very difficult to get that jack underneath that window. There's only 2 ways to do it. And that is some sort of external around the window, or we're gonna have to break the drywall to get the cable out there and behind the window. And I guess there's a 3rd way. And the 3rd way is if you have access underneath, you can bring it up through someone else's suite or through another floor, something like that, and you can put a jack there. Most people don't care whether or not there's a jack there. They really don't care. They just want a jack in that area. So if you put it over to the right of the window or to the left of the window, they're happy people. They just want a jack in that area. And the other thing is, even though you indicate that there's a jack right here at this exact location, you can't do that. Sometimes you got blockage behind the wall, things like that. So I would say to the customer, I'd say, I can put a jack in this area, but I can't promise I can get a jack right there on the wall. I'd love to get a jack right there on the wall. And by the way, when I'd go out and supervise the job, I get those little square stickies, and I would write the jack number that I wanted there, and I'd stick it right to the wall and allow the technicians know exactly where to put that jack. There's other ways to do it also, but that was one way that I did it. But I would say to the customer, I can be within 7 foot of that jack, and we'll just get you a line cord that will get to your computer. If you want to put the computer right there, we can get a line cord, a patch cord, some people call them, a line cord right to your computer. So that's how I would handle it. No jacks underneath the window. If we got them underneath the window, you're gonna have to pay extra to get around the window. We're gonna have drywall damage. We're gonna have to do external. External is really cheesy looking, but some people don't care. Or I'm gonna have to bring it up from the floor to put a jack there underneath the window. And I still may not be able to do it. I don't know what's behind that wall underneath the window. So the next thing I want to talk about is the one-box wonders. Usually this is someone who's not cabled before, and they say, well, I got to run 3 cables and they're only like 50 foot away, or I got to run 6 cables. I like this one. Now I got to run 6 cables and they're 100 feet away, each of them. Well, usually that's a poor design, just to be honest with you. But I call them one-box wonders because they buy 1 box and they pull 1 cable each time to each location, and then they find out sometimes that they run out. How do they run out? I measured it. It's because they measured it on the floor. They didn't measure it going up the wall, across the ceiling, and down the wall. And you gotta have excess out of the wall. And you gotta have excess in the data room to be able to cable manage it to the back of the patch panel. I remember, gosh, he was a new cabler, okay? And I was not supervising him. He had the concept down, but I was not supervising him. And he said, I'm all done cabling. And I said, okay, I'm gonna go out and take a look at it. And I looked at the cable and he gave me enough, it was about that much sticking out of the wall. And I said, well, how are you gonna punch that down? And he said, oh, I didn't want to waste cable. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't think that through. He said, yeah, he's a one-box wonder. He's trying to save money on cable. And he's going to pay for it by spending money on labor. So you don't want to be a one-box wonder, okay? It's just not going to work for you. Don't worry about what the cost of the cable is. If you got it in the contract, you always add what I call squish. Okay, a little extra to cover those type of things. And then I had a customer once, and he was looking at these boxes of cable, and he says, how much did you use on the job? Well, I don't know. We're just here to finish the contract. Does it matter? He goes, yeah, you got a bunch of these boxes in a pile, like you're gonna throw them out, and there's still cable in there. Yes, there might be considerable amount of cable in there, but the next run is 100 foot, and I don't have enough cable in those partial boxes to do 100 foot. Now what's going to happen to you is you get used to cabling and all. You're going to be able to pick up the handle of the box, and you're going to do one of these things where you shake it up and down, and you can get an estimate of how many feet are left in the box. You do this every day for decades, you can do that. So you got to do cable management, okay? What I mean by cable management is you pick up a box and it's heavy, then you do your longest run with that box. If you pick up a box and it's light, then you do your short runs. Now, another thing I got. A customer one time came to me and he said this. He said, this is a data room, and you're charging me per jack, and yet it's only probably about 10 foot of cable you use going from the back of the patch panel to the jack on the wall right there. And I said, yeah. He goes, I think I should get a discount. I said, absolutely, I think you should too. And he said, well, what do you think? And I said, well, as long as I can charge more for the real long runs, because I charge by drop. I did not charge by how many feet it was to get here and how many feet it was to get there. After a while, you look at a building, you know how hard it is to cable, how easy it is to cable, and how many feet of cable you're going to need, okay? And you don't go to the inch, like my friend did, 3 inches out from the wall. Oh, Lord, that was a tough one. But anyway, people make stupid mistakes like that. So what I've always done when it came time to quoting a job is I would quote the job based on total runs. So I'd get the average for the whole building, what I think the average run is going to be. Because sometimes you got a lot of jacks on the same wall, so that's going to take you a little less cable. And sometimes you have jacks that are way out in that warehouse there and way out in the warehouse here. That's a little different. There are exceptions, okay? Always exceptions to the rule, but I always charge one rate for labor and parts to put in a jack in the wall. I made it really quick. You can do a proposal. You can write it out on a piece of paper. I'll do these 50 jacks for this amount of money, and that's it. Now, I wouldn't advise that because there's a lot of other things, like you got to have access to the building. You have to have progress payments if it's a big job, things like that. We can talk about that later. About how you actually manage installation. And again, this video is not for, if you're just going in your office and you want to pull one jack, this is not about you. This is about people who cable buildings professionally, or would like to cable buildings professionally. They can still cable, just maybe not professional at the beginning. I've made a lot of mistakes too at the beginning, so I shouldn't pick on them. So I call them one-box wonders because they only buy exactly what they need. And then they forget about the 10 foot up, the 30 foot across, the 10 foot down. So it's not 30 foot of cable, it's more like 60 foot of cable by the time you put excess from the wall, in the data room, things like that. So you're gonna run into that. And I always do dual runs or multiple runs at the same time, along with pull string. Pull string is inexpensive. You can get a box 3,000 feet of pull string, and what I do is I pull the cable out of the box, I attach the pull string, tie it a special way, and I can't show it to you right now sitting here, at a desk. But that's one of the things you learn how to do when you learn cabling, and you do it in such a way. And then you pull the pull string with your first pull. And then if you got to pull down that hallway again, well then what you do is you cut the pull string in your data room and you attach it to your next 5 cables you got to pull. And so you always try to bundle them. You always pull the longest cable first and then the short ones, because then when the box gets light, you can do a lot of the short ones. But sometimes it's just trash. It takes more labor to use that short cable. And the most expensive cable in the world, pay attention to this. The most expensive cable in the world is the one that's 1 foot too short. There's nothing you can do about it. It's 1 foot too short. It becomes an expensive pull string for the next cable that's going to go down that route to that jack that's 1 foot too short. So remember that. Don't play games. Don't try to shortchange yourself when it comes to buying boxes of cable. And by the way, Cable Supply, we sell boxes of cable all the time, and we can ship them to you and things like that. So thank you for watching, and please join me in my next video, and I hope some of these videos are helping you if you're a business owner, and if you're thinking of going into cabling, to know how to bid a job right and to know where the opportunities are. And if you disagree, because I know some of you are going to disagree with me. I know that. I know that's going to happen, man. So if you're going to disagree with me, then write your comments down below. And I'm open to new ideas, you know. Even after 3 decades of cabling everything you could possibly think of, all over the place, all over the country. I'm open. Maybe I can learn something new. It was always good to learn something new. You have a great day, and thanks again for watching. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe for some more exciting episodes of how to cable your building. Bye.